don't ask me, because I felt like I was in the wrong movie.
Were there any rules there, or was it like the PWA? The stronger is the one that is in the
No
right.
rules.
How was that?
But it was quite a long reach, like almost a K, 1 kilometer reach. And then there was like a half kilometer, 500-meter downwind run. And then we had to open the Parawing again and sprint towards the finish line.
This episode is sponsored by Foilsessions. Whether it is pump foiling, winging or parawinging, this app tracks time on foil, upwind angles and much more. For downwinding, you can set a destination and you'll get directions on your watch or on the earphones. Try it for free on the link in the description.
This is Up on Foil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
It seems like they have a hard time flying with
This episode is also supported by SurfEars, but more on that later.
Welcome to another bonus episode of Up on Foil, the podcast where we talk all about foiling. And today, I'm not going to make the general that I usually do, because it's just going to be mayhem whatsoever. And we're going to talk about the SFT and the Parawing World Cup that just took place a couple of days ago. Thank you very much, Balz at Radiculo, to come back on the show. You're right today, right? How are you, man?
Well, I'm just back home after a very exciting and great time in South France for the first Parawing World Cup. And the Parawing is already dry again. So I'm really excited to get back on the water the next days here in Switzerland. And what a time to be alive. I'm speechless.
That's it. That's rare that you are speechless. But while you are speechless, let me just, because tomorrow is going to be another windy day, right? So you're going to be back on the water. Were you on the water today as well, or did you take a day off?
Well, I wasn't on the water today. I was with the kids as my wife had to work today, but I still seeked a glide session. I mean, for me, I'm a fun boarder. I don't necessarily need to get on the water to have a great day. Obviously, the best is spending time on the water and gliding. But today, after work or after a intense day with my little two daughters, I was just rolling on the street with my street stand-up paddle, which is something maybe few of you know about, but it's such a cool tool to just flow over the streets. So there's right in front of my doorstep, there's a new asphalt street, and I was just
nice.
flowing with the stand-up paddle over the asphalt, and it's ridiculous, even though nothing beats like being upwind of a downwind run and seeing all these ripples and waves. Even dead flat asphalt can fulfill this feeling, this seek of glide. So I was funboarding on the skateboard today, on the longboard. But I'm
Very
really
nice,
excited to
very
get
nice.
back on the water tomorrow.
Epic, man. We're going to talk all about that Parawing event, because for me, unfortunately, I couldn't take part in that, but I obviously looked at all the footage, all the photos, and maybe we can just start to explain people who maybe didn't follow it that much. Like, how was that 3 days? How was the competition going? Like a race per day, or how was it?
I took some notes in my notebook, my logbook, and basically it happened in La Franchi, in Le Cat, in southern France, for the iconic Mondial du Vent event. And this year it was a special one, because obviously we got the first Parawing competition, but there were multiple different water sport disciplines. So first of all, there was the TWA with wingfoil freestyling, but then there was also foil windsurf races, fin windsurf races in all the categories. So even youth surfing, windsurfing. So there were about 160 to almost 200 athletes. And it was such an
Nice.
enthusiastic atmosphere, such a great vibe. in South France, and especially in this corner of the world, water sport is really living. Like, it's obviously Leucate is treated well by very windy, usual Tramontana
Usually.
conditions. And now maybe we got to mention this time it was not windy at all. It was a really bad week for South France standards, but we made the best out of it. And in all the discipline, there was a result. And so
Yes.
obviously for the organizer of the competition, Mondial du Roi, it was a very successful, beautiful weekend. We had blue sky, sunshine. I was riding in board shorts. So
Nice.
summer
Jealousy.
is knocking on the door. And yeah, it was such a good time. And I mean, mentioning Parawing, the latest addition to water sports, we've had a fleet of U14, so really young kids, boys and girls, and up to 69-year-old grandfathers, both joining the same fleet and
Nice.
obviously seeking the same sensation, this freedom of racing on a Parawing. And I mean, you've heard it right. It was a race. And I'm the freestyler. And what is the freestyler doing at a Parawing race? Well, don't ask me, because I felt like I was in the wrong movie. But let's start from the very beginning. So first Parawing World Cup in South France. And
30 men, 9 women, right?
we were, in the end, we were only 22 men and 9 women attending. Obviously, there were a few sign-ups which couldn't make it to the final competition. Although it was a good fleet and a very motivated fleet, and no one of us really knew what to expect. So we all came down that first day. It was a 4 days competition, a longer weekend. We all came down to that first keepers meeting. No one really knew what to expect. We knew we will be Parawinging, having fun together with the friends. But then you saw already the people coming down the beach with their really tiny boards, their really tiny foils. Obviously, like the latest, greatest high aspect foils and smaller mid-length boards. And I mean, before the first start, I was already skeptical or a bit worried about my gear choice, because I took for that
What did you
competition.
bring?
I didn't really decide to go crazy in terms of like bringing my race foils. So I put down my I was racing the whole event, the whole competition on the same setup. So I was
That was?
basically on my Racer, like a subfoil 1000 square cm, 1070, 1007 cm span. And that was my choice for the whole competition. It looked like it's going to be a light week of competing in probably the most challenging conditions for Parawinging exist. Because Parawinging is, we all know about it, a sport that really needs the tension in the Parawing to actually get you going. So
Yeah.
this week was all about getting going in the lightest breeze with the most efficient and fastest possible gear. So we were standing at the skippers meeting. I saw the guys with these mini foils. And then we were talking previously of the competition already about the lower wind limit of such a exhibition wingfoil race. And the guys they were discussing about 16 knots to maybe 14, but we can't really go lower than that. And the forecast and also the reality was just simply 6 to 12 knots. So it was barely any white
Wow.
caps. It was really weak wind.
Wow.
But
Did you know that spending time in cold water and wind can cause your ears to slowly grow extra bone, sometimes enough to block them completely? It's called surfer's ear or exostosis, and it's part of your body's natural protective response. But ear problems aren't only about cold. Warm or polluted water can also lead to swimmer's ear, infection and inflammation, whether in pools, lakes, or the ocean. SurfEars is the original patented earplug from Sweden. It's modular, customizable, and comfortable, designed to seal from water while keeping hearing and balance intact. sustainably made and trusted by water people worldwide.
You wouldn't believe, not the whole fleet was flying, but most of the guys were flying in 4 to 6 knots average wind. So basically no white caps. And the guys were not just, yeah, it's ridiculous. And I've learned so much the past days about takeoffs in lighter breeze, about gear choice. So, but we can break this down in details later, but let's start from the
Yep.
very beginning. So
Nice.
first
Thank you.
keepers meeting, we all came to the beach and most of us were like, yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not going to, we won't get any results in these really light, it's like a thermal breeze in the afternoon almost. So then, we were all hyped to get on the water. So basically we did that first keepers meeting and none of us was really sure if anything is happening. And then we decided to just give it a go. And the guys been so, they were really frothing about it. Like everyone was so hyped to get on the water. And we made it happen. And in surprisingly light wind. And then we started maybe to...
Which board to take? What board and what Parawing did you get? Like what size?
So I was riding a new NC's prototype in 4.7. That's, in my opinion,
7.
the biggest Parawing I was looking into so far, because I wasn't really excited to get any bigger Parawings for my need, because my need in Parawing, and maybe all of you guys know my point of view of Parawinging. I love Parawinging, but I love Parawinging when the Parawing is stashed away and I'm surfing the waves. Like this part of Parawing is the best. But then like the struggle of playing with these big Parawings in lighter breezes is just, it's not annoying, but it's challenging. So I thought I'll bring my 4.7 and with my 1000 squirsium foil, it's a big foil, I'll be flying when the other guys won't get going. And then I saw the first guys packing out their 5.7s, 6.5, 7.2. And I was like, we'll be doing a kite race. And well, we've been lucky. The wind showed up all the days. Basically, we got wind. And considering Lökat and such a bad forecast, we had amazing conditions because it was an onshore breeze. So there was some little swell rolling in. So it was basically ideal conditions for doing such a format of exploring Parawing racing. So that first race, we all been really excited. It was a weak breeze. Obviously, not all of the people were attending on the line, but most of the fleet made it to that first start. And we started with a banger from the very beginning because we had an over early. So we were like so excited. Everyone was pushing on that start line. And it's funny enough, we know the winner now. It's Tom, the young South France waterman, who was so excited in that first race that he started basically with an over early the whole competition. So the very first Parawing World Cup race was an over early by him. But I have to add, he's ridiculous. Like this kid, he's windsurfing, he's winging, he's Parawinging, he's surfing, and he's a really good waterman. So watch out this pace because he's 17 now, and obviously he had the advantage of being a rather lighter rider versus us more.
Did you know that?
How heavy?
Like what's his size?
I guess he's medium. I guess he's like medium size, probably like 60 to 70 kilo, rather 60 than 70 kilo. I didn't ask him, but just to mention, his foil he used was the Glide 2.0 650. So that's a microfoil. And the case is we were doing pump foil laps. Well, I will get into the courses in a bit, but
what Parawing did he bring though? Was he the one up with a 6.5?
No, he was on the biggest stash available, which is a 5.6, if I'm not mistaken. So let's say most of the riders were on 5 meters, 5.7, and we were able to get going. So it was 12 knots. We were all flying. We started the race with an over early, and so on day one, the goal of Carlos, the tour manager of SFT, I mean, huge respect here on that space as well for bringing this tour up and bringing us to that beach.
Thank you,
He came up
Carlos.
with multiple. Yeah, thank you, Carlos. We came up with multiple different ideas of how we can race, and obviously we wanted to implement all the elements of parawinging, which is moving around with the parawing, going upwind, but mainly also stashing it, like packing it together, redeploy it, keep going again, and doing some maneuvers. So we started the race with basically, I made some drawings. Maybe later, we
We
can.
can show it maybe for the video for the people who watch it on YouTube. They can see it. For the audio listeners, maybe that's the
I
moment
will
to head over
explain
to
it.
YouTube.
Yeah,
So it's a
exactly. But if I
crosswind,
mean, it's a
downwind, another
crosswind,
crosswind,
half-wind
downwind.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, half-wind start, where we were facing the first buoy, and on that first buoy, we had to actually deploy, stash the parawing, and do a
Can I
short
just,
downwind race.
you had to collapse it, right? You didn't have to put it away in a stash belt. You just had to like
Yes,
take the
we
power off your
just
paddling.
exactly just release the power in the parawing, and we got forced to do a downwind surf pump leg. So that was like on that very first race, we were riding probably 500-meter half wind. We had to do a chipe, and on the chipe there was also a boat observing our stashing part, and then everyone had to actually stash the parawing. We were allowed to keep it in the hands, and then we were pumping
Yeah.
approximately 200 meters. And then there was the funny part. We were going around the buoy, and at that point we had to redeploy, open the parawing again, and keep going with the parawing around the next buoy. So that's where most of the riders were already having a spaghetti mess with their lines, and the ones which obviously were lucky or skilled enough to pack the parawing right, they were able to keep going to the next buoy, and at the next buoy we were forced to do another short 200-meter downwind lap, which faced towards the last buoy, where we had to open the parawing again and go towards the finish line. So basically, we had two downwind legs in that first
Yeah.
in that first race, and I mean 2 times packing and opening the parawing, and all in that very light breeze with not tiny waves but small waves. So I guess in that very first race, most of the people were really thinking, oh, they can go with their fast small foils. So I would say the fleet was between 600 and 800 square cm foils, and
Well,
I was overtaking so many people. So we were basically on the start line all together, a pack of 12. I don't know how many people we were, but like all
and everyone
together
was
racing towards that buoy. And then we were like
Okay.
packing the parawings away, and we were next to each other. And then we started pumping, and you could see the guys on the really tiny foils. They got off the foil, or they were forced to pump crazy. And there were a few guys like with me and like me with bigger foils, so we were cruising and surfing down to that buoy. And it was such a nice picture, especially in the very first race, because you had the guys which were like
And
leg burning downwind to that buoy, and then you saw us surfing and cruising. And in the end, well, I think it was all about the right gear choice to come up as first. But I got to mention here again, as soon as the clock starts running, a race becomes a race. And the fastest one who goes from A to B in a straight line will be the winner. So I have concerns about downwind racing. I love downwinding. Downwind racing, I love it as well. I think it's like running a marathon under 2 hours. It's
crazy.
it's crazy when it comes down to perform on such a high level. We realize quickly that it's going to be something for the very, very elite of riders. And I
But
think
you know what? We're going to talk about that later. Let's continue with the race,
yes,
because
for sure.
I'm
First
curious
race.
about that. But let's finish up that race first. So crosswind, downwind, another crosswind to the finish, right?
Yes.
How were people like staying on foil? You said about 12 people were on foil at the
hmm
start.
hmm
How
hmm
many were left there? You got fifth, right? How
I
was
think
the
I got
like the fleet got
yeah
stretched
in the
out?
first. All right, so I'll think we should have cancelled that race because from the 22 riders, I think we were only 8 making it to the finish line, and all of us with red heads. So, so and half of the fleet was still in the shore break in that really light breeze, trying onshore wind, shore break, paddling out on the big
Just
foils,
keeping
big
the
boards.
balance, right?
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So yeah, that was the first day, the first race.
Can I ask you
The
a question with the race though? And just a heads up for our listeners and especially the viewers. Speaking of balance, I'm standing on a balance board trying to improve my balance while podcasting. So maybe if I ever do a race, I'd have a little better balance. But how was it when someone was at the downwind leg and they came off foil? Did they had to paddle towards the next mark, or were they allowed to take out their pairwing again? How was that?
yeah, well, obviously when you fall, you basically lost the race. But yeah, there were moments where the people came down, and the rule was that when you were down to 0, you were allowed to unpack the burrowing and get up again. But as soon as you were up on the foil, you had to start pumping again. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a strategy like trying to mow through the downwind part.
No,
In
just in case
but
you fall. Yeah.
we've seen it. We've seen it. People were coming off foil, and it was really frustrating. But it all goes so fast. And I might need to mention the start was very important because having the tailwind of another Parawing when you're going full speed, and the guys were going full speed. It was 25 knots to maybe, I'm
That's
not
good.
sure if they were peaking 30 knots, but it looked like kite racing to me. Like the guys were, what? I mean, there were kite racers taking part. So it was obviously ridiculous how they were racing on the reach. And then in the downwind, well, so going maybe into the second day, because in the second day, we decided, man, if the guys with these fast foils will mow that fast through the course, we need a longer downwind so that everyone will be on more normal downwind sized foils. So we
Yeah.
decided to make a longer downwind run and just one reach. So that was day 2. We started with the start line. It was like the first day was goofy start line. The second day was a regular start line. I
Fun,
mean,
fun.
I really liked that we mixed up the courses in all directions, but it was quite a long reach, like almost a K, 1 kilometer reach. And then there was like a half kilometer, 500 meter downwind run. And then we had to open the Parawing again and sprint towards the finish line. So actually a really cool format as well. But so I thought the guys with the small foils they will have no chance. But I underestimated
But they just bumped more,
the
huh?
efficiency of the foils nowadays, but also how good the kids were already reading the surface.
Nice.
Especially, I mean, it was really close. And not only talking about kids, because obviously there were also more also older riders like Basti and Alan, more experienced riders, let's call it like that.
What are they, like
They were
30?
all on really, really small foils, like 800 square cm foils. And the guys were sending it from that upwind buoy to the downwind buoy, pumping in a straight line. They were actually
No
missing out on
surfing.
all the waves. It was just they were going from one power source to the other power source to the other power source, and it was so close. Like there were races on the second day where like 4 guys ended up at that downwind buoy on the same swell, opening their Parawings like 2 meters next to each other, and I was like a spectator on that course. I couldn't believe my eyes. Like what I've witnessed and seen like firsthand there was something ridiculous to yet grow. I mean, I'm sure there is like a future to this format of racing because
I have a question about um like were there any rules there, or was it like the PWA the stronger is the one that is in the
No
right.
rules.
How was that? No rules.
No, of course, we were agreeing on gentleman rules, giving us space, but we were screaming on the water, and there were risky situations, and especially opening up the Parawing and throwing it into your friends basically was quite ridiculous. But there were no tangles. I'm surprised. I haven't seen tangles of Parawings. I mean, that would be probably in the future we will see that. But so we had enough space. It was lighter wind, so probably not as hectical and windy as it could get, but ridiculous. So like the four guys opening their Parawings, obviously one was lucky, got away. The other ones were like struggling with their Parawings, not really opening smoothly, then keep pumping to stay up on the foil, and like, so you were focused basically on your Parawing and you had to race the course, which made it such an intense and cool experience. Like it was a
Before we
full
talk
on.
about what you've learned, maybe we can go to day 3 because there was yet another format, right?
Yes, and I think that was the format what Parawinging is all about to me. So like the day 4 was all about having a long upwind reach, like upwind leg, like 1K up around the buoy, and then downwind again to the finish line. So I think, in my opinion, that's what Parawinging is all about. I love downwinding, but if you're short on time, or you basically just want to go out for a quick session independent, you can upwind 1K, 2K, a short run, surf downwind, and like really shred everything out of the little waves. And then just, if you fall, keep going upwind again. So
Yeah.
I think that format was the most attractive to me. But then I realized quickly on that start line that the guys, again, were going with their crazy race foils and full speed upwind and crazy angles. But that's what it's all about. We want to get there upwind as fast as possible and surf downwind. But again, the surfing part was just from A to B, straight line to the finish line, and everyone kept pumping. So ridiculous, but ridiculous
How
fun
was the
as well.
wind on the
'Cause
third day?
on the third day, we had a really light breeze again. So it was always on the biggest gear. And especially on the upwind, pushing upwind on a 5 meter, not really powered up. It was challenging. But
So if you had a bigger Parawing, you went just better upwind, right? The more
well,
powered you are, it's
I've
easier to get
tried to
upwind.
ride with bigger Parawings, but bigger Parawings create more drag again. So I think the guys on 5.7 had like the magic number. And maybe later we can talk about the gear, because I've rode
Yes, you're
all.
right.
I've tried it all. And there was such amazing, cool new products and cool new also cool new paths of where the evolution will go or could go. But back to the race, it was
I'm
a
excited.
upwind starboard tack start. So basically, just like all the sail classes, we had to start starboard tack upwind, and then some guys were tacking right on the start line to get into the clean air. Tom did this, and basically Tom screwed us all. Maybe I should get into the results as well, because we're already half an hour in it, and so we did 6 races in
shit.
total, and
Yeah.
the last 2 races were basically that marathon format. One race was going upwind and then back to the start line, where the start line was the finish line, and the final race we went
How
upwind
long
and
was
we
such a
came.
race? Like 20 minutes? 10 minutes?
No less. It was 1K upwind. You know what? I wasn't racing with a watch, so I was just going with the flow. But all the other guys were with their race watches, like down to 0 on the start line, pushing
of
like
course.
crazy. But it was already a very eager atmosphere, but at the same time, as it was like a pioneering, cool and fun atmosphere. It was less of.
But
I know how.
as you said, let's talk about gear later. Let's just go through the results. For
Yeah.
men, we have Tom Ponsard, then Bastien
Yeah.
Escoffet, and Alain
And
Fédit.
Alan.
All French guys.
maybe it's all the Frenchies, they're freaking good, and the youth, there is a huge youth pushing as well. But also with the women, Manon, Mae, and
Yeah, we have
Viola.
Manon
So
Guité, Mai and Viola. Ouais. Yes.
really young kids. But maybe I want to get back to Tom, because Tom won with 6.1
Yes.
points with the discards. He started the competition with an over early, and he was really frustrated because obviously on that very first race we were all pushing like crazy, and I guess there were multiple people over early, and not only him. But they picked him because he was obviously like pushing like crazy. I actually expected
Early.
them. I actually expected them, the race jury, to just keep it chill and like leave the race going, but they were professional. Like they were on point with their
That's
starts,
good.
with the whole with the whole format. So it was cool. Well, he started with an over early, but then he basically won all the races. It's ridiculous. Like
Wow,
he
that's impressive.
was dominating us, and he was showcasing him, Axel, the kite racer, and Basti as well. They were showcasing already now what's yet to come. And it was a league on its own, because I was the free rider on that race course. I was really like, I was pushing hard, but I was limited by my gear choice. I was also limited by my freestyle mentality of going there and having
Having fun.
I wasn't.
It's not fun.
I mean,
A
having
race is not
fun.
fun.
There were races where Benjamin, Maya, and I, we were crossing each other on the same swell downwind, and we were giving each other space on the buoy as well. I think that will be the difference, because Parawing racing will be for everyone. Some people, they will face it like an Olympic runner, like with the ultimate goal
Yeah.
of winning, and others will be having fun together downwinding, because when you're 12 or 20 guys downwinding next to each other, it's such a unique experience. And so we were crossing each other downwind to through that course, and it was so nice. And the last race was a banger, because we had this running up beach finish, and for me it was very, very intense, because it was basically I was really late that day to the skippers meeting. To the skippers meeting, so I didn't know that we're going straight to the beach in the second race. So in the second race, I was going downwind like 1K, racing back and forward with Sasha, and we were like head to head through the finish line of the boat. And then the guys on the boat kept screaming, "Hey, you got to go all the way to the beach." So I kept pumping further, and I was almost done. Like I couldn't pump any longer. And then we came through the shore break. We were both staying high up on the foil with the sandbanks. Both almost fell off. And then the rule was we had to run up the beach only with the Parawing. We could leave the board
Not the board.
in the
Okay.
in the shore break. But I don't know why I grabbed my board and was running with my whole gear. And then Sasha was coming. We were like basically almost at the same time. He was coming from the back. And then I was like, fuck, I can leave the board. But I was like so in the race mood, like carrying my board. And then I lost my Parawing and my board on the last 2 meters to the finish line. And that's where we basically both went over the finish line at the same time. And then I had to go back and grab my Parawing after pumping 1 kilometer full power in a straight
Oh.
line. No, it was such a good and humbling experience, that race. And yes, I will
Cool.
definitely do it again. I will definitely do it again.
That sounds
Not
sounds
with the
really
aim
cool.
to
You had
win, but
okay. Well, you're not 40 yet, but you're from the older guys there. But you had 3 different formats, 3 different kinds of races. Would it be possible at all to merge them? Or like now after this race, what would you change? Would you change anything? Or do you think like these 3
well,
different races would be
change.
cool?
Now that was a first exhibition. I would really love to see it in proper Hood River gorge full power conditions. Because for now, it was basically just, we were all on the limit. No one was really able to push the equipment, neither the performance of the rider, because it was basically like just staying up on the foil. If we were actually dropping down in between the races, some of the people, they couldn't make it back up to the start line. So it was that light that the people were just barely able to fly. So we can't really tell anything. But what I definitely would love to see, let's say I have a vision, and we had that keepers meeting also after the race where we talked about potential future
Like a little
races.
debrief.
And in my
Yeah.
opinion, what the race really needs, in the end, the most skilled rider being able with the smallest possible gear will win. That's as always with a race. So but
Yeah.
to make it fair for everyone, I think what it needs to be with an upwind leg, with a slalom reach. So I would personally go upwind, stash the Parawing, go downwind, and then do a few slalom laps. So we have to open the Parawing again, do slalom laps around buoys, but short ones, so that we have to tack and jibe and get all the maneuvers out of us athletes. Because for now, basically, you could even get along with just jibing. Even if you were jibing upwind, you were able to get through the course. But I would really see the most skilled Parawinger win the race, and not only the guy who goes the fastest. So probably on these 3 courses we've done now, we were lacking a bit the technical difficulty for the course. But we'll get that as soon as we have more wind and we can do more courses. We'll get there. For now, it was all about making a simple, easy course to just get us through the competition.
And I
And then
also
I would
think,
like to
like,
see
if you
backflip
have
and front.
people can race backflip in the towards the finish line, but if you can jibe and not have to tack, for example, there are more people who be able to compete. Because if you like add too many difficulties, technical difficulties, then people like myself, it's not going to be possible. And I hoped that Hilti would join us as well, but he's probably not coming.
Yeah.
He had some trouble as well, even getting on foil, because he said that he needed a huge foil that was too big then to really actually serve that swell. So it was super difficult for him. And he's a good foiler. Like, he foils a lot. He aces runs here on Lake Neuchâtel. So for me, it would have been even more difficult, I suppose. But that's when is the next stop going to be? Like, where's the
That's a
next
good-
Parawing race? Do we know already?
That's a good question, and I really hope it's happening very soon. Because I think next weekend in Thun, we're just gonna in Switzerland next week. We're just gonna do an exhibition race,
Yes.
and we
Let's
keep
do
it
that.
fun and easy. But going upwind around the buoy and coming downwind, that got all it needs basically. The case is just
Maybe twice.
and
So
that,
you have to actually collapse or stack the
yes,
Parawing.
yeah, stash it and open it again. Because otherwise, I've
Yeah.
seen the guys just grabbing it all, like just squeezing it together and having a big mess afterwards. Well, we should also get into the people involved, because
that would be
Dimitri was
serious.
there. Dimitri from Mauritius, the
Yeah.
Russian and
Yeah.
Ukrainian crew. So it was such an inspiring get together with all these riders. Dimitri is like, he's the doctor. Like, he's so precise in stashing his Parawing, packing it super small, efficient and fast. I think, well, he won the master category in ease almost, but like he
How many
was
masters
so
were there?
quite a few. So it was
Like,
him and
Alias from
Alshas,
777 was
like
there as well, right?
777. Like, huge shout out to this guy. I mean, I have to mention he's doing really good products, and he was on the beach all day. He was the first on the water and the last on the water. We were together on the water all day, and he was like tuning his Parawings, trying some crazy new Parawings, efficient new Parawings. So he was riding with the master class as well, and they were having a great time, but they were obviously complaining about the light breeze, because it was either
Wow.
flying
Nothing you can do about that,
and
man.
racing or like just sitting around. But we can't, like, the nature ain't in our in our control. So we
in
were
our
just
power. We just have to
we
do
were
whatever we
doing the
can.
best
Sure.
with what we've got. We were doing the best with what we've got. And there were moments. There's one picture in the group chat where Carlos was saying, "Hey, the conditions are improving. Let's go out." And then you see Basti holding up the wind measure tool, and it was like 6 to 7 knots. And like we were looking at it, and we're like, "Well." But it is what it is. Like we can't change it. And I'm
Yeah.
impressed by the performance of all the competitors. Well,
It's just a question before
Hilti
we
could
move
have done
on
better.
towards before we come like maybe to the people or the gear. A question about the course: it have been possible to start from the beach, like doing an upwind, but you start at the beach, so you have to paddle as far as you want, because that could be a tactical
That's a
thing as well. Like far,
that would be
but not too
insane.
far.
Like that would be something I would really love to experiment with, especially as get going in the short break is the hardest part of parawinging.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you mentioned now, if you paddle maybe 20 meters further, you'll be straight out going. So I hope we get the chance to experiment in the future and create many different fun options. And I think I want to mention this here. I hope parawinging ain't going to be just another sailing class like all the other classes, because parawinging got something very unique, which is combining all the aspects from the other water sport disciplines to one ultimated fun discipline. Because we're sailing, we're surfing, we're flowing, we're racing, we're riding. So I think I hope we get the chance to make many more exhibition races.
All right, so the next one's going to be at Toon. This
Next
podcast
weekend,
is,
join us.
probably, if everything works well, gonna air. Well, if you listen to it today, on Wednesday, and on Saturday and Sunday, it's gonna be little lakeside opening in Thun from the Swiss Foiling Federation. So we're gonna do some foiling there. Pump foiling is there if there's no wind, but parawinging if there's wind. Let's talk about like the event itself, the people there. Obviously, there were a lot of pros there, you included, obviously, but you said also older guys, people who are maybe not that good. How was how was it with everyone there? Did you enjoy yourselves? You said that you used every parawing out there. A lot of discussion. Foilers talk about foils. How was like the mood?
Well, I think we're such a young new community, and we yet have to start and learn the sport all together and learn to do it basically. So it felt like a big coaching clinic where we were coaching each other. Like everyone was able to add a really good advice or tip on the table. And obviously the kids were also
Parawingers Anonymous.
there with the parents, and the parents were also into parawinging. So it was such a good atmosphere, and I think that I haven't seen a moment where the people were actually, in this moody competition mood. Like it was rather a really open community that wanted to get to know each other and get together and together on the water, and very supportive from all ends. I mean that even the tour manager offering big boards to the riders on the tour. Imagine this, Carlos. He brought 5 different shapes to the avenue, and he was giving these boards out to the riders. Even Alshas was giving his 777s, the bigger sizes, to the riders, because I have to
Nice.
I have to say that all of us were hoping for better conditions, but it's not always 30 knots sunshine. So it was 13 knots, 3 to 13 knots, and it was freaking challenging. But we were helping each other. We were even trying to trying to push the other guys out on the foil. Like it was such a good atmosphere. Yeah, and I think back to
And then
Hilti,
once the races
he was
were over,
missing his
go ahead.
speedos. He was missing his speedos because he was in the wetsuit. So he was too heavy and he could
That's a
not
real
get
mistake.
going because he had only a 4 meter per way. No,
Well, that's
No, but
yeah, that's not a lot. How was it
it
once the
was
race were done? I cannot imagine all those frothers after the race just finishing up and go for dinner. You probably went out again, and you said that you tried a lot of different gear. Was everyone open? Because I saw new pair wings. You said you talked about prototypes as well. Were people
yeah.
just open with them, or did they just use the pair wing and then put it away so no one could see? How was
No,
the mood there?
I think some of the riders should have done this, but basically none was able, I think. But it's such a young sport. It's such a young sport, and the evolution will go on like crazy. I mean, we all know about about it, that every new Parawing will be not a new milestone, but will be an evolution of things. And as this race was the first of its kind, brands were forced to create more efficient, faster power wings. So we've seen a few brands with new prototypes on the race, not prototypes, new products on the race course, but no one was
Those are
hiding
the
its products.
afterburner from Ozone.
Well,
There
the
was the
afterburners,
LTX 7.
and I've ridden as well the new POW from Fly Surfer, the V2.
Oh, yeah,
So there
right.
were,
Yeah.
and the new F1 as well. So there were,
Oh, really?
well, just
The new Enzes. Is it
V2s.
called Roger as well?
Yeah, it's we stick to the Roger, and this
Uh,
is the evolution of the Roger is since day one ongoing, and it keeps melting my mind. What's yet to come? Each product gets so much more intuitive and easier and more accessible for everyone. So yeah, we're now on the Roger 3 boss. It's probably going to be the Roger 3. We definitely stick to the Roger. And with NCs, we decided as well to keep it more as an overall wing, one that does it all good and not really going into multiple different disciplines because it's a small sport. We're only very few out there. I mean, you guys know
yeah.
about it. I don't know how many of you still listening to this podcast. If you do, you're really into it. But definitely, it's a small niche of the niche, and
Yeah.
and I've seen so many good para wings, and the Roger is just there with them, and I'm excited to really see where it's going. My ultimate goal is to share the sensation we have out there with everyone. And I know parawinging has to get more accessible. And I've written very stable parawings the past few days from several brands. So not only the deep power of the parawings is really good nowadays, but it's like the parawings, they almost fly on its own nowadays. Like they hover
Mhm,
above
mhm.
your head, and you really get this upward, forward drift and drive that gets you going on all these latest products, which is insane. And then obviously, like we've
And it's
seen
not
new
just the most
bars.
expensive ones.
It's not it's I think it doesn't necessarily need to be high end to have fun with a power wing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it should stay a simple product. But what was really impressive, I've seen new bar systems, I've seen evolutions on bars, which will definitely change the game. And
You
very
talk about
simple,
it?
very what? I
Can
was
you talk
I
about, like, the evolution of the
no, I
bar?
would.
What is that?
I wouldn't. I better don't talk about it. I think
Alright.
there were some bars I wasn't even necessarily allowed to see, but we were riding with it.
Alright.
So I felt a few new bars in my hands, and I think in the future we will see people upgrading their bars, just like in skateboarding you change your wheels. So like depending your needs and preferences, we're gonna witness different bar solutions for for different needs. But what really, so there were new power wings. The afterburner will obviously be the new more race orientated power wing from Ozone.
Mhm.
And the best news about it, it's still a single skin, because I was trying
Interesting.
hybrids. I was trying full double skin ram air kites, power wings, which made this already very challenging sport even more difficult. So I might need to mention the 777 hybrids were surprisingly easy to handle and ride. And I and I almost need to. I guess we will see way more hybrids in the upcoming future. And I know from several brands that the DEFI is coming up in a few weeks, and we will witness new evolutions at the DEFI already, which will be more a half-wind race. So it's all about that top-end max speed. And we've seen a few riders which were pushing so freaking hard on the kite race foils. So we had one stronger morning with the offshore Tramontana with like 25 knots, and I'm sure the guys were going up to 30 knots. So they were definitely faster than the wind. And they were on some tiny kite race foils with with basically kites in their hands. But I'm stoked that parawinging is probably here to stay as an easy and cool sport. But then we get back
Easy.
to
Oh,
the
come on.
yeah. No, but I mean,
Not
if we
easy.
start with
Like
e-power system
you're
and
making
like
it not easy.
and longer lines and ram air, it's gonna be even more challenging. But yeah, here
Okay.
comes
Okay.
my
Yeah.
conclusion of that weekend of these few days. We've been obviously
Let's have
the
a drink
elite of
first.
yeah, man. we've been the elite of riders at that happening, and even we were struggling. So if
Mm-hmm.
it will become a bigger audience that's willing to practice that sport, it has to become even easier. And the hybrid wings, they stay up above your head like an inflated kite. So that's something which is insane and surprising. And they actually pack surprisingly small as well, and they go upwind great. But then once you got them wet and into the water, it's gonna be more of a hustle, even more of a hustle to get them going and flying again. So
Definitely
I'm really
take some
excited to
time.
see the evolution. It takes time, and maybe my best advice to everyone is patience and passion out there. Patience for untangling your parawing, redeploying it, launching it up in the air, and in a race, if you rush things and
Yeah.
move forward fast, you do mistakes. So yeah, that's why I think I'm
Well, it's-
stoked to see that the guys coming up with really efficient single skin race parawings.
Yeah, makes it easier in terms of product. I have two questions. One, you just said before, that for the DeFi wing, are you gonna go there? Are you gonna there with a parawing? Do you have any plans? Because you just said you're not a racer per se, but I heard about the DeFi wing that it's just like a pleasure to be here. The whole atmosphere is great. Do you have any plans there?
I'll sign up. So last year I was doing the first two races on the Parawing, fully stacked with 600 people on the start line. I mean, you can't miss out that feeling of being on that start line, going behind that boat that blasts upwind and creates that running rapid start. So I'll definitely be there again, excited to start with the Parawing, but I aim to have a good time and hopefully beat Roha if he's joining. No, it's all about having a good time with your friends. And this year, apparently 800 people starting. So parawinging will be together with wing foiling. And it's going to be an awesome happening. And it will showcase the potential of parawinging once again, because last year
Last
the
year it
parawing
already
was
did. Yeah.
4 minutes ahead of the wing foiler. So he had an average speed of like 35 knots, no, like 34 knots on that whole 33 knots. But he was freaking fast, like freaking fast. And I know all these kite racers, they're already excited and testing race weapons to be the fastest out there.
I think that you are probably not gonna go with your normal Roger. Am I correct?
If I'm not drowning trying that race weapon we're having and producing with NC, so I've had already some crazy gnarly sessions on a full double skin rum air kite. And I remember one jump in like 40 knots. It felt like kiteboarding. It just like lifted me up, and it kept lifting me up. It was ridiculous. I got scared almost, but I got scared
But
because
it
the
can also be
depower
fun, right?
system ain't a kite. So it's Parawings.
Okay.
They're
Oh
not
shit.
flying devices, and they're also not kites. So it's a different
Yeah.
tool, but it will open up new horizons and even more attractive racing as well, because kite racing is insane. It's the most efficient way
Yeah.
of racing. In literally no wind, the guy's doing crazy upwind angles, downwind angles, but the lines are so far apart that as a spectator, the whole thing is not really one compact piece. And I think with the Parawings
Yeah.
being so close to the rider and all the riders together, like flying like butterflies over the water, like one after the other,
Yeah.
it's really attractive. Really attractive.
And it also, the races, the pictures I saw, it really looked great. Also, the collapsing looked really great. You talked to about you learned some things from Dimitri, his stashing method. Maybe what did you learn? Maybe what would you do differently? Not in terms of the race per se, but you as a rider.
Yeah. Well, be the optimist. Like always, be optimistic when going out. But I've been it before.
Okay,
But
full
what I've
sizes.
Yeah, well, full sizes. No, but listen to your heart, and don't just go with your head. Because I took the smaller foils with me to the beach, and I was like considering should I go for it, and maybe I was expecting to do better, honestly, because I'm Parawinging since forever. It feels like already.
Yeah.
But I knew that I won't be fast. But I was still thinking that maybe with the Parawing skills and the pumping, there will be a chance. So I was learning and accepting to not be able to win, and that was like a personal learning for me. But
Nice.
beside that, I was
Finish.
I got I got sixth, which was really good for my possibilities as well with the gear choice I've made. No, but then get going and learning the light wind start. I'm used to Parawing in really really light wind and practicing takeoffs in lighter breezes. But then seeing other riders struggling so much and trying to help them and reflecting your own starting technique, I was really making big progress and get going up on the foil, and like also using both the straps to pop up on the board, and I'm swinging my wing forward and keeping the tension on the Parawing lines. I've learned a lot in light wind takeoffs, and then reading the water surface and not just going straight line pumping through the waves and the water. I was I was learning little things, but like every race was like mind opening.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to
I,
seeing you
you
in
know,
person next weekend and have a joint
yeah,
session, man.
I was really bummed. The very last day, the wind dropped before we started, because I got to mention we had also the freestyle competition of winging at the same time. So we we basically were forced to watch the cool action of the freestyler, which is insane. I mean, I've been there, competed as well at Mondial du Mans, and I've been able to win it 2021, and now I would probably not even make it through the first round anymore. And this is insane. Like the level is going
Crazy.
through the roof. But mentioning this, I was I was also Parawing freestyling, and it's a bummer that SFT was not managing to do a freestyle Parawing exhibition competition yet. But this is definitely coming, because all these kids, basically the top 10, is able to do front flips and back flips on the Parawing. And it's just the beginning. Like the tricks they're doing on the Parawing already now is mind-boggling.
Balz, when you were there and you saw the wingers, were you
Mhm.
sometimes like feeling like you should go back out with the wing as well. Because I can tell you just a little personal story. I was in Sardinia 2 weeks ago, and there was one day there was maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 knots in the gusts. So once I took a wing and I went out, and it felt incredible. I haven't been winging for
it's
a year.
beautiful.
Nothing
Yeah,
but
it's
air winging. I
beautiful.
took the wing back in my hands. I feel like, well, that's still fun. So I'm trying to find out which wing I should get. I'm going to test and review different wings just to find a good wing, because the one I have right now is a maybe 3-year-old Gong Wing V2
No,
with soft handle.
well,
It's really
the
not good.
evolution is going
So
on. The evolution is
yeah,
going on, and
yeah,
the wings nowadays they feel so easy, light, and efficient that you can go in the lightest breeze. And no doubt
yeah,
about the efficiency of get going on in lighter breezes on the wing. Because
yeah.
maybe fun side story, on the day before the competition, Valerie, the event organizer, she had the television on the beach, and she wanted to create some parawinging images so bad that she forced me to get on the water, and I was just mowing around, standing around, not get going. And then I told her, listen, if you want to see me flying with the Parawing, I have to stash it under the lycra and go with my wing. Because with the wing, I can
Yeah.
fly. Funny enough, I can fly in no wind. I can pump up without the wing with my bigger foil setup, but I get up earlier with my wing in the hands, even in zero wind. Don't ask me why. Probably I create some relatively wind power that pulls me forward, but I can start with no wind. So I was going up with getting up with my wing, throwing it away, and then packing out the Parawing. Probably you guys have seen it before, but it was
Yes,
so cool to get up without the foil drive, because the foil drive boys were also there, and that was really cool to see Tom, Nico as well, every day frothing with their foil drives and the small boards and getting up on the foil. But well, I like this a lot. I like this. In my opinion, I prefer to try to make it with my own physique, energy, and power,
sure.
if possible. But yeah, there's definitely space and room for everyone. But hey, so it was really light wind, and to get going was so challenging that I had a few moments where I was actually looking over the shoulder. Well, the wingers were not on the water because the wing freestylers, they're having so small boards and foils, they were not really flying. But I took the wing and went cruising around with the wing as well a few times, and it's such a nice feeling. It all has its own space. But I have to mention, I got so efficient, or all of us got so efficient with the light wind starts, that we were basically getting up on the foil when we were barely able to keep flying. So it was insane. Like, there was so little wind.
Correct.
And the foils nowadays and these efficient boards nowadays is very impressive. And maybe we should get to the board discussion or talk, because
Let's
obviously
do that.
we're having now, we've found the class of boards, which is like this mid-length, shorter,
wider.
more narrow boards, not so wide
More
anymore.
narrow.
quite narrow and longer boards, mid-length boards, and we've seen
Yeah.
multiple different shapes in it. So Tom, he won with a hollow board with the D-Lap, the new Duetone mid-length Skybird, they're calling it, I guess. Anyway,
Okay.
he had an air valve, and he had to make sure that he opens the air valve on the beach and close it again before going on the water. And I've already heard stories that people actually forgot to close the valve and then had water inside their boards, which ain't really a problem because you can rinse the board again, dry it, and then just don't forget the valve anymore. But they're having like a huge yellow flag where it's mentioned, open it before ride, open it after riding, close it before, something like this. So he won with the mid-length, very compact, parallel outline shape, and I will call it the glider. So a flat surface. And then we have on the opposite side Dimitri with his Frank board, which is basically a canoe nose and tail
It looks board.
identic. So it's like, it's up downwind. So we have these two boards, the banana and the flat windsurf board. In my opinion, parawinging, if you're doing nothing, so if you're not pumping at all, you won't take off. You always need to be an active rider to get up parawinging, because the moment you can actually lift off with a parawing without pumping either the wing or the board, you will be totally overpowered up on the foil. So parawinging, usually you're forced to do an active takeoff. And with an active takeoff, I'm talking about having two foot straps locked in and doing ollies, but radical skateboard ollies. So you're pushing your front leg up, you're pulling your back leg after, like you're doing a skateboard ollie, and you're doing this moment synced with the power of the parawing. Now, if you pull the parawing in a light breeze, nothing happens. He will collapse, or you just drift downwind with the board. So now we have these two boards. We have the round canoe that's very efficient in slower speeds, and taking off is actually theoretically easy because you can pump it super well. But then you can't really edge the rails of that board, so you lose the tension of the parawing, and that's what happened to most of the riders at this event now in the short break. They were basically just drifting with the waves, and when they were trying to pump, the force of the parawing was just always going with the lines, and they had no tension on the lines, so they had to be really skilled pumping the board, which is way easier to pump the banana than the flat board. But now the advantage of the flat board was you were able to edge the board and go more into the wind, keep more tension on the line, but then you had a harder time to wiggle it up as the big tail was breaking on the water surface. And the gliding concept of the flat board needs more wind to get you up with ease than the banana board. So now the conclusion of the ultimate board, I'm having in my van outside, I'm having 6 different boards, and I'm really excited to compare them back to back tomorrow, because there will be always a different opinion and different style. And especially when we're talking about downwinding with the parawing, that's a whole different class. Racing or downwinding, you're just going with the wind. So you need the banana to wiggle up that has less touch points or no touch points, a small narrow surface that hovers you stable enough to get you up on the foil instantly going with the wind in stronger breeze. But then in lighter breeze, you need like a compact, flat bottom, whatever. And Carlos, he got so many different prototypes with him. It was ridiculous. And
You've all
comparing them with the
invested that.
Frank boards, comparing them with the F1s, comparing them with all the concepts we've seen on the beach, it was very, very exciting.
How did you like his boards?
They were now I need to really be careful what I'm saying, because otherwise,
Sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot.
he's gonna change the shapes again. But they were like really, really good compromises. It will be always a compromise. Every
Always
board is always a compromise.
Yeah.
But so he made really stable, easy boards, really stable. Like I could close my eyes, but I needed more wind to get going versus other concepts. So I think the goal is to merge the banana with the flat parallel outline and get the ultimate board. Now the question is, will it be a hollow board? Will it be a foam board? Will it be we will see. But it was like, in my opinion, if the wind is strong enough, it doesn't matter at all.
Yes, that's what I just wanted to say. If we can just add like 2, 3 to maybe 5 knots to that wind that you had down there, it would have been a whole different story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but the kids would have ridden with their wingboards, which are way more aerodynamic, way slimmer, like way smaller boards, and way more efficient to pump. Because I mean, I was riding the 5, that's a 5.7. So I was riding the Type 86, which is a big board. It's 21. Well, it's big and it has a lot
Yeah.
of swing weight. But once going, weight is momentum. I have my chats. No, but once momentum is going, it creates speed. So there comes the compromise of having a bigger board that stables out the pivot and gets you going smoothly at higher speeds versus the small, compact, efficient board. But I'm definitely sure if we've had 5 knots more, Tom, Axel, and Basti as well, they would have gone with the kite race boards on probably the kite race foils, which would have been ridiculous, which will be
That's crazy.
ridiculous in the future.
That's crazy. All right, Balz, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Just two last things. One, on the next episode, I'm going to talk to Roy from Go He Leash, and I wanted to ask you: were people riding with leashes there, or is that not for racing?
That I think for it. Well, the winner Tom was racing with a coiled leash, and
Oh, really?
I was asking myself, should I tell him that coiled leashes are ridiculous if they tangle up? And then I realized he's never falling. Like he's never in a.
Right.
I mean, this kid is like he's dry all the time. So I think that also showcased that there wasn't really a need for a board leash for most of the riders. As well, I was thinking it was not mandatory to use it. Helmets were mandatory. Life vests? No, I don't think so. And leash neither. But I think leash would actually even be very dangerous because imagine we would actually tangle with the board leash because we were so close. So I think board leash, they're not really necessary in that particular situation. I mean, if you're going parawing or downwinding alone, no brainer. You need a leash. It's your
100%,
lifesaver. And I've been out there as well, like after the races, I was cruising around. Conditions been actually for a Swiss really, really, really exciting. I mean, it was it was small waves, like maybe hit like chest high waves, perfect angle, like crosswind. So you were able to go out, surf in, over and over again. It was a light breeze. But I was thinking if I lose my board out there would be ridiculously stupid. But during the race, if you lose the board, if you fall, you're anyway lost. You anyway lost
Safety
the race.
boats would have been there, right?
There would have been safety boats. I didn't really expect any other competitor picking up my board, but no, there was basically almost no one was using a board leash. Yeah.
All right. And my super last question, people always ask me which size parawing they should get. And I think it's a super hard question. So I always say to them something between a 4 and a 5 if deep power is good. What is your suggestion if someone asks you, I just have money for one parawing, what size should I get?
Depends what you're doing. If you're going downwind, take the Magic 5 because you need it only 3 seconds to get you up on the foil. You can use it from 12 to 40 knots. It's not going to be comfortable with a 5 meter in 30 knots plus, but you'll get up on the foil, so it does the job.
Sure.
And nowadays, like these 4, 7, 5 meters, they're packed so compact. So you got this little package. And then like coming from the Swiss lakes where the wind varies enormous, with the 5, you cover almost everything. But then if you want to actually have fun and ride around, the 4 meter is the magic size almost, or even the 3.5. My one to go is like, as I'm still winging in light winds or windsurfing as well, I like 3.5, 4 meter parawinging. That's when the parawing is stacked, you get easy up on the foil, but we're talking about 20 to 30 knots, like it needs solid breeze. And learning parawinging, don't even waste your time in lighter gusty winds. Just wait
Under
for
15
stronger
knots.
winds. I mean, Matt, we've done your very first parawing session or downwinder.
3 meter in over 30 knots.
We've been stacked, but you were flying. So
Yeah,
I know
yeah, flexible, yeah.
I know other friends which try to parawing since a long time and not really flying because they always keep trying in lighter breeze, and it
That's
needs
not.
wind. You need to
Yeah,
be
that's
stacked,
true.
and your wind window nowadays is like 5 knots of ideal performance. So it's a 4 meter does the job in the average good conditions.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you very much, Balz. Can we
and
just
less
to
is
wrap it
more,
up?
and do the best with what you got.
Can we just to wrap it up get some little Balz stoke telling people how like foiling is just the best?
I think we don't even need to mention this anymore because if you're still listening until now, you
That's
guys
true.
are amazing. And I'm really, really excited to get back on the water together with you guys. And I'm 5 years ago, I was mind blown by wing foiling, and I couldn't even in my wildest dreams, I couldn't even imagine what we're doing now. And I mean, we were having this little fun toy, pulling us up on the water, giving us the opportunity to draw lines, be an artist on the lake, create something where nothing exists. Like we're surfing waves which don't even exist the moment
Yeah.
before we actually get into them. So parawinging, downwind surfing, flowing, seeking this sensation of glide. It's so unique, and it's amazing. Like there's no words to describe it. And I just hope that that I can share the stoke with more people and get everyone. Well, that's the last thing I mentioned from Mondial du Vent. There were so many spectators. Like really, uh, thank you all for standing on the beach well, it was beautiful weather. It could have been like 35 knots and flying sand. So it was beautiful. These were beautiful beach days, but still they were standing there watching us. And I passed by the spectators and passed my parawing into the hands of the kids and older guys, because most of them never felt this toy or they couldn't even imagine. But almost everyone can rely to flying a little kite, like a hand kite. And I've didn't seen a single person trying that parawing telling me, oh, that's hard, or oh, that's challenging. Everyone was like straight away grabbing the parawing in the light breeze, intuitive, hovering it over the head and telling me, wow, that's cool. I want to try this. I mean, it's still a long way to get these people on the water,
Yeah.
but it's not impossible. And the evolution of gear is ongoing, and I'm psyched to get on the water. And last words, if anyone is having any questions, hit me up. Come to me on the beach. On the socials, you can try, but I prefer having the talk on the beach, on the water. You're always welcome to grab my gear, try my gear on the water, as I'm just excited to share the stoke with all of you. So have fun and stay safe.
All right. Nothing to add there. Have a good one. Cheers.